Hey everyone, welcome to Inkwell Games and welcome to Stars. I'm Anastasia and I'm going to walk you through how I solve a typical Monday puzzle. So, as you read in the rules, our puzzles start easier on Monday, although they can still be quite challenging and ramp up in difficulty over the course of the week. Every puzzle can be solved with pure logic, so you don't need to guess. So, I'm going to move my screen so we can see the whole board. And the first thing I always do is I look for small regions, regions of 3, 4, or 5 cells. Every region, again, needs to contain 2 stars. So in this puzzle, I see a lot of these sort of plus sign, T-shaped, we'll call them T-shaped regions. I see one here, here, and here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to understand, is there anything about that region that actually could help me solve this game? And so one thing I can actually realize is if I were to place a star in this cell, the sort of center of that T shape, there's no other place in this region to place a second star that wouldn't touch that. Therefore, I know that this cell has to be an X. And then let's look at this other cell. If I had a star here, I couldn't put a second star here because that also is touching diagonal counts, and I can't put one here because that's touching, which would mean this region does not have 2 stars. So therefore, in these shaped regions, I know that I can't put stars in either of these 2 cells because they share borders or diagonals with every other cell in the region. So suddenly this region now only has 2 options. It needs 2 stars, therefore I go and place them in. 1, 2. Whenever I place a star, I always make sure to X out any cell touching that star because they cannot contain stars. And I look to see, has that star filled out that row? Which it hasn't, but it has filled out this column. Every column can only contain 2 stars, so now I know I can't put a star anywhere else in this column. Great. Let's move on to another one of these regions. So instantly I know from my previous logic that we can't put stars in these center 2 cells of these T-shaped regions. So I place an X there and I place a star on either side. I X out any cell that touches that star. I check their row, in which case, yep, these are the final 2 cells from the row, and their columns, of which there's still a lot of options. Let's go up here, we'll do the same thing, cross out the center, place some stars. This row is now complete. And we've got one more T-shaped region. So center, star, star, cross out my other options. This column is full. And let's look across. Did this row get complete? No, actually, they're just staggered. Okay, so I'm doing this live. I'm doing this with you. I now look to see if any of those regions got significantly narrowed down by that. And in particular, I'm like looking at this region in the lower right-hand corner. There's still 4 options left to place the 2 stars. They're broken up a little. There's sort of a set of 3 and this 1. And what I realize is if I were to place a star in any of these 3 cells, it touches the other 2 cells. So I can place 1 star in this chunk of 3, but there's no way I could place 2 of my stars in here. So I know 1 star is going to go up here, and I know the second is going to have to be down here. So I can place my second star here. I can then X this one out because it touches. And interestingly, I'm further confirmed because this row actually only had 2 spots left. I filled one with a star, therefore we know that that was a good placement because the other star is going to have to go here. So sometimes we can actually use multiple bits of logic to help confirm that we're on the right path. I'm going to cancel out the 2 that touch that star. I just want to finish up one more thing over here. And so now this second star for this region is going to have to be one of these 2 cells. I still don't think I can tell which cell it is, but I know that either way it's going to touch this cell. So let's take that one out of contention because there's no way a star could be there and allow us to place a star either here or here. Just taking a quick scan of the board. It's a tough board to start with, but I now look up here, there's this region of 5. I also know in regions of 5, they're very similar to a T-shape. This cell and this cell both touch every cell in the region, meaning that I can't have a star either here or here because there would be no room for a second star. So I can X out both of those. That sort of divides the region into a set of 1 and a set of 2. And again, we couldn't put 2 stars in here, both because they'd be touching, and if we did, that would make 3 stars in this row. So I know one of the stars is going to go here, therefore the other one has to be over here. It's the only other option. So I'll place a star, I'll exit out. Let's see. Where to next in this puzzle? I can always ask for a hint if I'm stuck. Oh, here's a great hint. Mark the rest of the cells in this column with an X because it already has 2 stars. So this column has 2 stars. I can actually drop X's throughout this column, which then helps me remember this region. There only has 1 option left. I'll put that star in. I'll put the X because it touches. That's the second in this row, so we'll draw this across. Now things are starting to move faster. Now look at this region. There's only 1 option left. I'll place the star. This cell touches it. I'll go up this row because there's already 2 in this row. Now let's take a look at this region. There's only 3 options. We have that sort of pair. We know it must be one of these 2. And then it has to be this one, so we'll drop a star in. This column only has 1 option left now. So there goes the star. This is the second star in that row. Great. Let's see, where to next? One thing is I see in this column, I know that there has to be a star in one of these 2 cells. And this column already has 1 star. Therefore, I could X this one out because that would be a 3rd star. Let's see, what else can I do here? Oh, I know that there's going to be a star here or here in that pair, and both of these 2 cells touch both of these. So whether the star is here, I couldn't have a star here or here, or if it's here, I couldn't have it here or here. That significantly narrows this column down, so I can place my final star of that column, cross out the cells that are touching it. Now we're almost finished here. This region and this column needs a second star. There we go. This region, this column needs a second. That's the final one for that row. This region gets filled out. What's left? This one already has 2 in that row, so this should be our final star. There we go. My timer's wrong, but hopefully that helps you understand how to solve a Monday Stars.